Can you imagine trains full of U.S. corn, billions of dollars worth, being turned away at the Mexican border? Not delayed, not taxed, rejected. That's exactly what's happening right now. For decades, the U.S. shipped genetically modified corn south like clockwork. In 2024 alone, it sold nearly $5 billion worth to Mexico, 25 million metric tons. But suddenly, everything changed. Mexico officially banned the planting of GM corn, and now, those once welcome shipments are hitting a wall. No loopholes, no last-minute exceptions, just flat-out refusals. And while American farmers stare in disbelief, wondering how their most reliable market slipped away, something else is happening further north. Trains loaded with Canadian corn from Manitoba, Ontario, and Saskatchewan are quietly making their way to Vancouver's ports. Their destination? The exact same markets the U.S. used to dominate. It's not just a shift, it's a takeover. And here's the question nobody's answering. Is this really about tariffs and politics? Or is it about something deeper, about trust, transparency, and who the world wants to buy from next? Because while Washington scrambles to decode what went wrong, Ottawa seems to have seen it coming all along. Canada wasn't just watching, it was preparing. And now, the corn game that once revolved around the U.S. has a brand new player on top. So what does this mean for the future of food, trade, and the farmers caught in the middle? Let's break it all down. But first, a quick note. This video is intended for commentary and analysis based on public sources and academic perspectives. We don't take sides or promote any person or policy. Our goal is simple: inform, explore, and let you decide. Because in this new trade landscape, one thing's clear. Corn may still be golden, but who holds the gold is changing fast. In 2024, the U.S. shipped a staggering 924 million bushels of corn to Mexico, generating over $5.5 billion in revenue. On paper, it looked like a flawless trade relationship, each bushel going for around $5.96, a fair price on the global market. But this wasn't just about numbers. That $5.5 billion supported an entire ecosystem, over 133,000 American jobs across farming, freight, and processing. That's the equivalent of employing every single person in Savannah, Georgia. And on the Mexican side, U.S. corn was cheap, really cheap. At just 4 to 6 pesos per kilo, under 35 cents in U.S. currency, it fueled the tortilla industry, fed millions of livestock, and powered everything from starch production to daily meals. This flow was once protected by major trade deals like NAFTA and later USMCA, which aimed to turn North America into a tightly woven economic unit, with U.S. farmers at the center. But by early 2025, that balance began to crack. Suddenly, long-standing orders were delayed or canceled. Shipments were flagged at the border, not because of tariffs, but because of uncertainty. Technically, corn that met USMCA standards could still be exempt from Mexico's new GMO-related restrictions, but for how long? Nobody knew. Importers began hesitating. Would next month's shipment be allowed in, or rejected entirely? It was like trying to run a business with a coin toss. Mexican buyers, once deeply reliant on U.S. corn, started looking elsewhere. And quietly, Mexico ramped up its domestic corn production, shifting gears in real time. This wasn't just a supply chain issue, it was a trust issue. And trust, once shaken, doesn't return easily. The U.S. may still produce some of the best corn on earth, but for Mexico, that might no longer be enough. Something quietly changed. From early 2025, it seemed Mexico no longer saw the U.S. as an unshakable agricultural partner. Sudden tariff threats, rising transport costs, and policy uncertainty nudged Mexican importers to look elsewhere, especially north. And while Canadian corn isn't necessarily cheaper, it's offering something more valuable right now: stability. Within just a few months, the U.S.'s long-standing grip as the global corn supplier began to slip. Ports that used to hum with trains full of Illinois or Iowa corn are now unloading shipments from Manitoba and Saskatchewan, and even seeing trial runs from South America. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, but the shift is real. If you're not paying attention, it might even look like nothing has changed. But behind the scenes, the power balance is quietly tilting. As of early August 2025, U.S. corn on the Chicago Board of Trade was sitting at around $4.50 per bushel. Not bad, until you look across the border. Manitoba corn? $4.70. Ontario? Over $6.37. That's a $1.87 price jump per bushel compared to U.S. prices. And when you scale that across millions of tons, the difference isn't small change. It's hundreds of millions in potential revenue. Shifting north. Sure, prices may have changed by the time you're watching this. But what hasn't changed is the bigger picture. In 2024, Mexico was spending $5.5 billion a year importing U.S. corn at an average price of $4 per bushel. Now, they're looking elsewhere, even if it costs more, because predictability, not just price, is becoming the new currency of trade. The U.S. didn't just